Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight? Still playing catch up here. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Case by Case. My name is Amy. I'll be joined tonight with Cherie and Streets of Bakerfield, and I have a special guest joining a little later. You guys know I never fail to bring you treats, so we will have a somewhat of a childhood friend here tonight, anonymously, that knew Garett Kirts very well and has agreed to come on and give a little bit of insight. How's everybody doing? I'm going to bring Cherie and Streets on.
Hello.
How are you?
Living the dream. Yeah, your
That's
sound is
good.
really low, Amy.
Oh, it's probably because I'm leaning back in my chair trying to get. Is that better? Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I had my microphone too far away.
I
Cherie, how are
bought a
you?
microphone.
Good.
It hasn't gotten
Cherie,
here yet.
Cherie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
Doing good. Have a quick little public service announcement to make. For those of you who like to go out and have a good time, do not drink and drive. I attended a funeral this morning of a young lady that I coached for probably a little over 10 years. Since she was a little girl and all the way up until she graduated high school. She was 27.
Your sound is going in and out.
It better not be.
I'm sorry. I know you're talking about something sensitive.
Oh my goodness. Is it still going out?
It is. It's some words you say go silent, and I'm still echoing.
It's pretty quiet. It's still pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Overall.
Okay. Well, hey, well, really quick, I'll get back to what I was talking about. I'm going to go out and try to fix that real quick. For everybody who's listening in chat, we're just going to drop a little bit of Carroll County news on you. For those of you who know anything about the Jennifer Dean case, the reason we're bringing it up is because someone in her case is getting ready to start co-defendant, getting ready to start a trial there in Carroll County, who's being represented by Lori James, which was actually Ashley Garth's public defender. So, Cherie, if you want to give a quick overview, I'll let you do that, and I'm going to see if I can fix the microphone real quick.
Okay, I don't know a lot about it. I'm echoing.
I think you're good.
Okay. I don't know a great deal about it yet, but from what I have read, Jennifer Dean had a young, she was like 18, I think, but she had lived with Jennifer for a few years, and she called her mom, even though she wasn't her mom, obviously. And Jennifer Dean allegedly kind of put her out as a prostitute.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Yeah, and then Cheyenne is the young girl's name, Cheyenne Brooks Brown, and she had a boyfriend named Tyrone Lethbridge, I think, and they concocted a plan where Cheyenne would lure in a customer, and then they would rob him, and they ended up luring Willie Smith Jr., and Tyrone hit him on the back of the head with a bat. They were in an alley, and they did get some money off him. And then the victim, wandered into a nearby house and laid on the couch. And then when somebody called the police, and he was still alive then, but he died soon after. Jennifer was tried. in Carroll County. But this took place in Flora. I forgot to say that. It was tried in Carroll County in 2022, I think, by Nick McClelland. And she was found guilty of felony murder. She got 60 years. Tyrone Leftridge and Cheyenne testified against her. Tyrone took a guilty plea and got 45 years. She got 60 years. And Cheyenne Brooks Brown's trial is supposed to start on or about April 7th. And she has Lori James as her attorney, who was Ashley's attorney. So that's what I know about her.
Okay, I'm back. Is that better?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat, is it better?
Who's going to be McClelland is going to be on Hidden True Crime? If McClelland is listening. What up, dork?
Right. Well, I'll try to breeze through this for everybody so you guys can hop. I don't know if you're going to.
I don't want to hear that. I don't.
Kathy says she can't hear me well. Guys, do you hear me better now?
It's
I
better.
can hear you better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Lord help me. I thought I had this fixed. Last week it was fine.
Now it's good.
Under Scar says no. Rebecca Ann says no. They can't hear me. Huh. Well, let me see here.
I'm going to buy you a new microphone too.
No, well, I just got this one. Can you still hear me? I'm just
I don't know why I'm so loud. It's just my regular phone.
can
Now
you still hear me?
That's
can
a
you
lot
still
better.
Who? For me it's a lot better?
Yeah, you.
Okay. I put on the echo cancellation.
Well, it canceled my echo too.
She said something is terribly wrong. Please comment on the Nick McClelland interview. I have no comment. I think he needs to stop talking, is what I think.
I hope he keeps talking so much he backs himself into a corner he can't get out of.
Well, that might be, yeah, you're probably right about that. I think that I think it's all gonna come crashing down on him. I really do. And hopefully once we get to this appeal, hopefully we are not going to see corruption at the higher level. If we start to see that, we have a really long road to go. But anyway, back to what I was saying before, and then we're going to get started. Try not to keep you guys here for 4 hours tonight. I know March Madness is on, but anyway, I just wanted a public service announcement. I had to bury a beautiful soul today. I would say goodbye. I didn't bury, but I had to say goodbye to a young lady that I coached for a very long time. And she had left a location last Monday. And this was a little after midnight and was killed in a car accident. She had a 1-year-old son. She was 27 years old. I was very close with her. I coached her on 2 teams, and I also did private lessons with her. Picked her up from school. She had a very hardworking single mother, and I would pick her up after school to see to it on her days that she had private lessons, she could get to the gym. So to this morning I wasn't sure if I was going to go live tonight or not. I was able to get home and gather my daughter went with me, and we came back here. I was able to get myself together and sat back down at the computer. And I'll tell you what, I have to give a huge shout out and thanks to some lovely ladies behind the scenes. You know who you are. I'm not going to say any names. Who I usually deal with on a daily basis, who helps me with research. And I'm sorry if I asked for too much. Right? I don't digest it all at once. I have a huge Dropbox that I'm continuously adding to, and everybody that that works behind the scenes with me, I kind of little anal, so like everything has to be categorized and divvied up in their own little perfect little files, and so it's a good system to have. So
Did you
if I ever
did you notice my new avatar?
did, that's so pretty.
Do you know
I,
why I put that as my avatar?
because you're getting that new car. Is that
I'm getting the new ID Buzz. I'm getting. Oh,
oh,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I know.
I'm getting
I
the
want to
new
see pictures
electric.
of it.
Oh my god, I'm fucking so excited.
I started a paper card file, trial junkie. Yeah. Thanks, you guys. I hadn't seen Kayla for several years. When it came out, my phone blew up in the morning, and I was like, at first I seen it because there was like 3 accidents right by my house. And this literally right by my house, and both of my daughters, sent it to me, and I'm like, why are they sending me pictures or like news articles about? I guess it was because it was by my house, and then I started reading, and then I seen her name, and I was like, oh no. So um, other than that, don't drink and drive, guys. If you're going to drink, stay home. It's
Please
cheaper,
don't drive.
safer. So I'm going to bring on our guest. We will call him Ghost. He is an Indiana resident, I believe. I'm not going to give away too much. I'll let him. Tell his own story. So we're going to welcome Ghost. Please be respectful. Nobody get out of hand in the chat. Just remember my 2-strike rule. Act up once, 2 minutes timed out. Act up a second time. Bye-bye for the night, okay? So we're all adults here. We can agree to disagree, but we can do it respectfully. Please be polite, always. So let's welcome Ghost to the stage. Hey, Ghost. You have to unmute your mic.
Hello, Ghost.
Oh, he just pulled himself out. He's probably going to come back in. He's got to figure out how to unmute his mic. He was on here with me earlier, so he might, and he's doing it off of his phone. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead. Let me pull us back a little bit. Ace, ACV.
Does Ghost know about the dentist?
Hello,
Yes,
hello,
he
hello,
does.
hello, hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Now can you hear me? I'm good.
Yes,
You?
I'm good.
Hey, Ghost.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I
Good.
can hear part of you guys, and I can't hear the rest of you.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Sorry.
Turn up your
I'll let,
volume.
I'll let Amy do all the talking.
Yeah, I've got it pretty much all the way up.
So, court of public opinion. I won't block you. Just behave. I know who you are. A little bit, I think.
I'll block you. I'm just joking.
I'll behave. I'll behave.
Okay, go. So, why don't you introduce, like, just let everybody know where you're from and a little bit of a little bit why I invited you on tonight. We've communicated a little bit over the past couple of weeks.
Well, I'm pretty much from Delphi, born and raised. I grew up there my whole life. I'm 36 now, so I've had, ins and outs with pretty much everybody around that area. Monticello, Lafayette. Been in and out of the game once or twice. And I think I met Garrett when he was probably about 11 years old or something like that.
Did you how did you come across my channel? Can I ask?
Well, just watching a couple of the ones, just different ones about Delphi and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to watching one of yours because you pulled up something about Ashley. And I was always kind of somewhat knew about what was going on with Nicole and whatnot, but
Mm-hmm.
I never knew really what happened to it, like the whole extent of everything, until like everything is just done over with.
Okay. So do you so you know Ashley personally?
Yeah, I grew up with. I went to school with her older sister.
Okay. And did you go to school with Garrett, or did you live near Garrett?
I lived kind of close to him, down by when he lived with his grandpa there off of Springboro Road.
Mm-hmm.
I lived down on Horseshoe at the time, so
Did
he's
he
always just kind of come.
go
Go
ahead?
ahead.
I'm sorry.
You say he just come down there, kind of hang out, and because there was a bunch of kids down there in Horseshoe, so we all just kind of grew up around each other. And he's always been kind of one of the strange ones, though.
It's strange in what way?
It just he would be kind of forward, but yet at the same time he was more of basically like trying to lie to kick it, per se.
He did
He'd
now, I'm
always,
sorry. Say that again. He what?
it's like there's an old saying that goes around here, you ain't
You
got to
ain't
lie
got
to
a right
kick it.
to put.
Yep. And he'd be the one that'd take and he'd come up with some strange ass story out of, hard telling sometimes with him. And it'd just be like, okay, well, you ain't got to try, lie about anything to be cool, dude. It's like, okay, but. And then it's just, he would be kind of, I don't know how to put it really. He'd come up, say something random to you. And when I say random, I mean like literally random. Uh, and then he'd just kind of be like, well, why do you guys say that? Why do you guys say that? It's like, wait, what?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that I mean,
Hey,
I think over the years, working on Ashley's case and, you know, covering like following Delphi for as deep as I have, although I didn't start covering Delphi on this channel until several months ago, but I've always been kind of behind the scenes. But deep diving into Garrett, I've learned that like wow, he has serious issues when it comes to truth telling, and he's very good. He's very like if you don't like
it,
you don't know him, and like he lies about things that you would never even think someone would lie about because there's no reason for the lie.
Do you think that's from
yep.
the dad?
I'm not sure on that one.
Do you know his
His dad
dad?
was not really. His dad really wasn't in the picture that much. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't really there. He grew up around his grandpa for the most part,
Okay. Was his
which
grandpa
is
like that?
honestly,
Was his grandpa a
he's
storyteller?
don't take this the wrong way, but he is a Jehovah's Witness, or is. So I mean,
Uh-huh.
they're setting their rules or whatever, and it's basically kind of like that. I know if he was always had a curfew for the most part, and was always had to be back. Want to upset Grandpa, but when it come down to the rest of the family, he didn't care if we pissed them off, hurt their feelings, or anything.
Yeah. Karen Hall, Karen Hall's asking, what does lie to kick it mean? I think it means that he didn't feel like just being around was good enough. He had to create a big lie to hang out with people. Is
Just
that
people
right?
that
Yeah, yeah.
the people that lie for no reason at all. Like the one like that one girl from Saturday Night Live, the one upper.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's kind
Mm,
of like that?
pretty much.
Okay.
Just he'd come up with this something. Say we're all sitting around talking about. Uh, we just got back from a fishing trip, and he'd come up with some random story that he was just out fishing and caught one, 3 times as big as this, and you know, along those lines.
Steve Johnson, we're going to get to that. Steve Johnson's asking about Ron Logan and Garrett Kirts. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Let me see. ACV is asking, did you ever get the sense if Garrett struggled with reality
Oh
and if it
yeah,
was different than
there.
everybody else?
In a way, it's like he's always off in his kind of like his own little world. I'll put it that way.
Did Now, did you and him have the same circle of friends ever?
Pretty much, kind of.
So
Your
when
father
he
was him.
when he's when he is considered a part of the Kokomo crew, a lot of those people from Kokomo, like
Now
Keegan.
that is something I have no clue about whatsoever.
Okay, so
That
you don't
kind of
know.
that I would assume, and kind of my speculation is goes back towards the dentist
The dentist.
because Grandpa and the dentist actually only live about a mile apart.
Okay, so we're gonna get into. We're not gonna jump the gun. We're gonna get into
Hmm.
that. For everybody in chat, you're gonna learn a little bit of
The dentist.
some new stuff tonight. But do you? So you don't know Tyler French? Uh,
Mm-mm.
you don't. Did you ever know Derek German?
I just know of him.
Okay.
What do you know of him?
Just a few things, and that he basically kind of rolled over on everybody.
Is that
Okay.
the word around town? Is that he rolled? Has that been the word
Oh,
since?
oh, oh!
Was
It's
that the
a
word for?
fact that he.
But was that
It's a
like
fact that
the?
he.
But were people talking about that before his daughter was killed?
Oh yeah, I mean it's well known. It's been known for years, and it's like some people say, that could be a speculation towards Delphi, but at the same time, yeah, Delphi's a big toss up.
Um, so
We could
AC,
sit here all night on Delphi.
yeah, we could. Uh, and that's why I'm doing this, because I feel, right now we're with the court systems and everything going through the appeal process. We know what we know until items are released from the clerk. So I just thought it would
Hmm.
be a good idea. There's a lot of creators out here doing a lot of good work, and I
Yes,
just,
there is.
because I have so much info on Garrett, and him being someone who continuously comes up in all of the conversations, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of do a deep dive on him. Simultaneously, because I cover Ashley's case, and FYI, Ashley's attorney just filed her PCR appeal brief yesterday. It's a hell of a brief. He really came out swinging, and we're going to go over that either tomorrow or Monday. So I thought this would be a great prelude to that, and kind of give everybody the insight of the individual that I've gotten the insight to know, because I have communicated with Garrett. And
Hmm.
I think the rumor mill has ran rampant, and I think there's a lot of things that Garrett has been connected to that he's really not connected to. But I am by no means am I advocating to take him off any kind of suspect list whatsoever. It would, to me personally, I've read it, I've seen people make accusations about possibly Garett Kirts being in with the Kokomo crew, Gabe Ellis, Derek German. I just want to remind everybody that I dig deep, and I've never been able to come across anybody who says, "Oh yes, I know Garrett was friends with this person and that person." It's always through a rumor mill that, well, I thought I heard, or so and so said. I've never been able to directly connect it. I've tried. If it's there and exists, please someone bring it to me. But when it comes to Garrett, Gabe Ellis and Derek German are way older than him, way older. So
Hmm.
I don't believe that they were people that he really ran with. And even with the Paladinos during the 2017, the Delphi case, when that occurred, Garrett had not yet met the Paladinos. I don't think he met Jason Palladino until he was in jail, I think in Boone County or somewhere.
What about
So
when he was
Mm-mm.
had work released or something? So I would like to see if he knew any of the Kokomo people through that, because it seems he knows a lot of people through jail and work release, and He was even sent to one of those as a kid. One of those. What is that place you probably know in Indiana for kids? But it was also one of Mike Pence's little um, places because they had the gay immersion therapy, so where it would like teach you not to be gay, but it was also like a juvenile home. It was really big. It's from like the 1800s, but it's closed now.
Well, they fell on him.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no. So, two more questions, really quick, Ghost. You're being asked. ACV is asking, do you recall or have any type of an opinion about Garrett when he was doing drugs, or was he always a compulsive liar who struggled with reality, or did the drugs make it
it,
10 times worse, or what? What did you see?
he he would be say anything to basically get to where somebody'd hook him up with something, that way he had a little bit or whatever, and he'd always come up with some kind of story, always out there. And it was, I mean, he reality was not really too much with him,
So
to be
when
honest about that.
when he was high, was he aggressive?
Oh yeah, he would get a mean streak in him,
Um,
and that's one reason he got kicked off the compound a few times, because he'd always get aggressive with a couple people, and it's like, no, we don't have that. It's just no. We're a bunch of us, we're old river rats, country boys, and we just like to have fun, but have peace at the same time. We don't want
mhm.
the damn cops showing up. We don't want all the drama, and and you get out there and you want to start something with somebody just because you got a little buzz going. It's like, no, then get your ass on down the road.
Right.
And
Now, did you?
but
Well, we'll get into him and Ashley. I'm getting ready to pull up something here really quick. I wanted to ask you about. I'm going to see if you have any insight to where it is, and who it is. One second.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being gay. I'm just saying there's a school in Indiana that's very controversial that had a program in it that was supposed to make you not gay if you were a gay teenager. Obviously, those things don't work. I don't have a problem. I'm just stating a fact that they have those in Indiana.
I
Do
don't
they
have.
still
I'm right
do
there
they
with
still
you.
have those, or they're closed down? You said.
I think the
I
one
have no
that
clue.
on the one that I'm talking about closed the whole entire. I think closed down. I don't
I
know
think
if
you're
it
talking up there
reopened.
by. It's one of the Jewies up by Muncie. I think you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I think that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this video for you, and I want you to tell
Hmm.
me if you know, because on YouTube, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, yeah, there's no treatment to not be gay, no doubt."
And
I'll
I
tell you
don't think
what.
that there is. I don't think that there is. I was just stating that there is a
It, it,
place. That place in Indiana exists. I don't think it's right, but it does exist.
and
And
Um,
he's always been kind of a fruitcake, I thought, honestly. And it's like I said, I don't have nothing against him, but it's just.
whites, yes, I'm talking about whites.
um, so
Mm-hmm,
funny,
mm-hmm.
funny thing, when coaching competitive cheer and gymnastics, we do. I mean, I coached. One of these days, I'll throw up some videos on my channel. I have a really long video it was like a year collage of me coaching a team, and all my boys that were on my team were all gay guys. And I used to tease them all the time and tell them, just put your glitter in your pocket, and when you're on that stage, let them see it. And
Yes,
I
I think.
my daughters both grew up with their best friends. A lot of their best friends were gay guys, so I have no issue with that. If you are,
No,
own it.
just don't encourage. Just don't encourage it. Is my only thing. Is if you got like
Well,
somebody that's a young teen or whatever, and you got one of the older guys or whatnot, which is going to refer, say, we'll just go probably say the dentist, encouraging on bunch of the young kids and whatnot all the time. It's just that right there. That's a no go with me. It's like no.
Yeah,
If they
well,
want to go to one
I've
side, that's whatever. But don't encourage them to, and don't That's
all right. Well, I'm going to I'm going to move on from
changed
that
subject.
topic. And I want to,
And
I
the
want
place
to,
that I am talking about is called White's. I think that it closed
yes.
down for COVID. I don't know if it opened back up, but it's a juvenile delinquent program that temporarily had a pilot program of the gay conversion.
so can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Do you see that? The video that I'm getting ready to
Yes.
play?
Is this
Okay.
the one where he fought?
Yes.
He hurts his shoulder. He's such a pussy. Sorry.
Hold on. I got to go back through here and play it. Oh, I got to play it on here. Okay.
He's such a weirdo on this one.
So, Ghost, do you know who this is that he's fighting?
No.
Go. Hey, away from the truck.
Who is that?
That's Garrett fighting some guy that kicks his ass and complains that his shoulder hurts.
Get the fuck up. Let me get up, bitch.
I'm trying to see if I know anybody around him too.
You get up. You got me fucked up, bro. You want to sit there and talk some shit? Huh? Hold on, shoulder just popped out, bro. Let me get up. Shoulder just popped out, bro.
Oh yeah, he popped it straight out.
My shoulder just
That's
popped
funny
out.
as shit.
What happened, bro? Like you just said, man.
Who is that?
Ow.
I've always
Are you
asked if I
okay?
was keeping.
I was
It's
waiting.
not
I was waiting for the guy in the
I
black
need that
t-shirt
dude to
to
turn.
talk about it.
This is real. This is real. This is on YouTube.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, bro. I ain't fighting. Fuck that.
I ain't fighting. He's done.
Oh, shit. You got me fucked up, bro.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Oh
I can't. I
Could you go a little bit more?
He's fat for
I
a
can't think of the
tweaker.
dude's name. I cannot think of the dude's name.
Yes, this is real. This is real. Do you need to watch it again? Hey, Shibby.
Oh, it almost. I can't tell because of the beard, honestly. But if the kid's the same age as Garrett, I think his name is Max.
So look at the dude leaning up against the car. Does he even look familiar?
That's what I was trying to see because he kind of did too.
This was
You
a
don't know where
while
this is
ago.
at?
Yeah. Garrett's fat for a tweaker.
They were smart. They took the plates off the cars too.
They did.
You notice that? Both cars
Yes.
ain't got no plates on them. That's how
Okay,
quick
they're
I
all-
notice things. That car ain't got no plates either. I'm trying to see if I recognize the place at all.
Looks like a farmer's field. They really just do be fighting in farmers' fields, huh?
Oh yeah, we country boys. But this is just
Hey, away
It's
from the
like a
truck.
Jason Aldean.
okay. They just said Max. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the background, they said whip his ass, Max.
So who would that be? Max who? Do you know?
That I don't know his last name, but I believe he's from Brookston, if I'm not mistaken. Which he's almost same age as Garrett is too. And some of the people that he run around with also run around with Garrett at the time.
Not Max Snowburger.
No, not Snowburger.
Yeah, that guy's too.
That's not Snowburger. That's different Max.
Oh, but by the way, he said Jimmy Snowburger last week, and that
Jimmy Snowburger.
that's what
I
he
don't
said.
think there is a Jimmy Snowburger.
Well, that's what he said. There is a Jimmy Snowburger, and he owns a martial arts studio.
Is it senior or junior?
There's both.
ACV,
Both?
it's not KK. Somebody, I think back then, whoever posted this video thought it was Keegan Klein. It's not Keegan Klein.
It's a kid named Max. He's the same age as Garrett. I can't think of his last name for shit right now, though.
He's the same age as Garrett, you said?
Yeah, he's the same age as Garrett.
You guys really do just drive to a farmer's field and start kicking each other's asses?
Well, once in a while, if it comes down to it.
That's like a Jason Aldean song.
I mean, try that in a small town.
Four
Now-
Pits says his daughter just divorced Jimmy Snowburger. Hey, Four Pits. Four Pits, when I come out to Indiana, I want to have a bonfire with you, and I want you to just sit there, get drunk with me, and tell me all of the stuff.
So, guys, Ashley's on the phone, and she said that she doesn't know his last name either, but she said that he knows that he was one of Garrett's gay friends. Does that? I don't know if that helps on last names.
I kind of thought the same thing for him because I mean he is, if you look at him, he's always kind of like one of the more friendly ones and just kind of and sometimes you could just spot him a mile away, but Dave back then, like that era, he was probably still stuck in the closet.
He's still stuck in the closet.
It's just honestly, I think it had to do, a lot of it's got to do with the freaking drugs and whatnot. It's some of them, they get to where they get a buzz in them or something, and all of a sudden it's just they turn into, I don't know, just too friendly, too friendly.
So, were you friends with Garrett all the way up until the Nicole Bowen case, or had you guys kind of like fallen off before that?
Basically, we had our differences because he around that he was getting to where he was constantly always just messed up. It didn't matter what it was.
Mm-hmm.
If he could find it, he was, either snorting it, doing it, whatever, to the point to
Right.
where there's, nobody really wanted to be around him. And then he just, when he did catch a buzz, he'd straight be a dickhead the whole damn time. It's like, some of us, we didn't want him around or whatever. But we were still in communications, but not like talking like all the time or see him, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where, he'd just kind of pop up out of the blue, or, we'd know that he's coming and shit. And some of us would like, all right, well, we know he's coming, so we bounce out, go somewhere else.
Wow.
Because it's just, there towards the end, he was just getting too crazy and stupid. And when you sit there and start threatening people left and right, it's like, nah, that's a little, he'd get a little too aggressive at times. And it's like, all right, dude.
Well, he posted this this picture on his Facebook on December 16th of 2016, which was 2 months before the Delphi murders. And a little bit of background for everybody in chat, especially I know there's some people who have followed the case for a couple of years, weren't around back when the whole case started. Garrett was a very high profile person.
Now.
So Garett Kirts, he's currently in Pendleton Prison. He is serving a 55-year sentence for the murder of Nicole Bowen. And then he has a consecutive sentence that will kick in after Nicole Bowen's sentence is served for Ray Hainish. Now, actually, the murder of Ray Hainish happened 16 days before Nicole Bowen. They were both by ligature strangulation. So he's got 110 years to serve in prison in Indiana.
Nice.
Yeah. He was accused of
I
the
think
murder. Go ahead.
I say I got my opinion of it. I think you should get the damn chair, but
Mm. Well, Kurtz, he was so. I don't know why they're what. Go ahead, Ghost. If you have something to add, go ahead.
I don't say I'd say let him sit there for the first 55 or whatever, and then just take and just fry his ass. Honestly,
Oh my
make him
goodness.
sit there, suffer for a while, and then just freaking give him the chair.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, that's the way he did Nicole, the way he did Ray,
Mhm.
and honestly, I kind of think he had something to do with Delphi too.
Do you really?
But
What makes you think
yeah,
that?
Well, wait a minute. Let me get
Oh,
through
I'm
this.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We're gonna get into all of that. We got to tell the story here, so everybody who's listening can follow along, especially for those who have come into the case late. I want everybody to get a complete feel for who Garett Kirts is. Um, I don't believe that Garett Kirts was initially a suspect in 2017. He didn't become a suspect until 2019 when he was arrested for Nicole's murder.
Ron
I
Logan
could,
did tip him in, though.
he did. Ron Logan did tip him in, and I think that there might have been some eyes on him, but nothing to the level of what took place in 2019.
Yeah.
So
You
he's
can't
been
tell me that
accused.
Shaq didn't have anything to do with him.
Yeah, I agree. So he's been
I
accused
almost
of,
think it has to do with the cave.
yeah. He was accused of the murder of Abby and Libby since 2019 by many of those who have deep dived the Delphi case. As part of his original plea agreement in Nicole Bowen's case, they had been coming in to question him about Delphi, and he was offered a plea agreement under the constituents that he would pass a lie detector test. And he took the lie detector test and he failed. It says, according to the jailhouse interview with content creator Open Secrets, Kurtz acknowledged that he failed his polygraph. And I do think that I have the excerpt of that somewhere in here. We'll play
He
it.
cautions you to remember the two sketches are not photographs.
I believe that
Shut up,
eventually we're
Doug
going to be able
Carter.
to say this person's the killer, and there's a combination of those two images that'll land on his face, whatever that might look like.
Logan is one of my dad's childhood friends. I've known Ron my whole life.
Of Ron Logan's horse with a horse in your Facebook or something. Like, there's all kinds of things, Garrett.
I mean, of course there's pictures of Ron's horses on my Facebook. I mean, I've been out there my whole life.
That's what you said. People are taking that to mean you did it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Fucking ignorant. I don't understand. I don't understand how people can say something like that without them knowing that. You know what I mean? There's no evidence that ties me to that. There's no DNA. There's no proof. And honestly, I can't tell you where I was at February 13th or the 14th because I've gotten high since then.
Well, I was gonna say you were using, so you might,
I want to say I was working at Packers because I did have a job at Packers around that time. Really, I mean, the only case I had in Carroll County was a domestic battery with my girlfriend. And
Do you know anything personally? Did he treat you fairly, etc.?
I don't think I was treated fairly, no, because with the circumstantial evidence against me that I had, see, me and my girlfriend had gotten into it, and, she put her hands on me, I put my hands on her. Basically what it was is self-defense. I had bite marks on my back and everything.
Oh,
All I was trying to do is get her off of me.
Well, they say that they arrest someone no matter what in domestic, like someone's going to jail, girl or boy. Yeah. So you just feel voiceless, basically.
Yeah, Fouts, because a lot of people think that Curtis Fouts had something to do with those two little girls getting killed in Delphi.
Me from
See, that's the thing with Garrett, is he throws these names in there. I think he knows more. I think Garrett has told us exactly what happened in Delphi. We just haven't connected it yet.
So yeah,
I
I'm
think
gonna.
there's a few people, but that whole thing right there, the way he was defensive and aggressive about it, flat out lie.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna say
exactly
this.
how he'd be.
I'm going to say this, that throughout, if you guys, like last week, I did a 5-hour on Ashley's case, and there is voluminous amount of information where Garrett, I can show you side by side Garrett bold face lying. For example, that right there, the domestic violence and the circumstantial evidence, and he had bite marks on his back. Okay, everything about Garett Kirts is he's the victim. And the way he tells a story, it's he's either coming in to be somebody's savior and gets done wrong, and he's never treated fairly, but bite marks on his back. What he's failing to discuss there on Open Secrets that no one knew about and no one heard, no one took the time to go pull up the case and the arrest report, was that he broke into Ashley's house, he duct taped her, he strangled her unconscious, picked her up, threw her over his shoulder, and carried her out to the living room to turn the stereo up loud enough so no one could hear her scream. And she bit him on the back. That's how the bite marks got there. So, and you're right about him being defensive. And you're going to also hear about 50 different times he accuses 50 different people of being involved in Delphi. And that when he was arrested for Nicole Bowen, that was the first thing he did with Nicole Bowen's case. He told Detective Rowe that Nicole Bowen and her heroin dealer by the nickname King were responsible for the Delphi murders. And it just went on and on and on. And everybody took it and ran with it. And that's why I feel like we all need to back up. We all need to kind of clear the smoke and see Garrett for who he is, what he's capable of, and where we can put him in this story, if anywhere. And if not, he needs to be eliminated and we need to move on. But if we can't, then he just stays in the category of a POI. That's why I'm doing this tonight.
Now,
His
didn't
voice
King
does.
get rid of his sentencing? He changed his plea offer on that Ashley case?
So what happened was, we're going to get into a little bit more of that. What happened was, and like I said in the chat earlier, this is probably going to have to be a 3 or a 4 part live, because there's just so much. When he took the lie detector test, he failed it, and he claimed that he failed one question, and that was, have you ever thought about killing anyone? That was the question that he claimed he failed. So therefore, the prosecutor took the plea off the table. Now, we're gonna get into him and Ashley a little later, because I believe I can show what transpired with him. He turned on Ashley in his second interrogation video, after he accused other people. But I'm going to show over the course of some of lives why he targeted Ashley so much there towards the end, when he started having to come to grips with the fact that he was going to prison for 55 years. Oh, thank you, Dirty Diana.
Whites does other things besides conversion therapy. They've been around since like the 1840s or something. Like, it's a really old reformatory school. I'm not saying everyone who's sent there is sent there for that type of therapy. Sorry, I'm just don't want people to think that I'm
No, you're fine.
against gay people.
People can. Yeah, I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable talking about the LGBTQ community.
I mean, yeah, I'm from Los Angeles, so it's not a big deal here. So I forget that, like, some people still have sensitivities to it. So I apologize if I say anything that's offensive. I don't mean to be.
As well as me too. I mean, I'll put it this way: I've dealt with a lot of people in and out, to where anywhere from homeless to whatever. I ain't got a problem with nobody, and it's just roll with it.
I'm reading the chat. Okay. Sorry.
You're
ahead.
fine.
I'm sorry, Amy.
But
No, you're fine.
I do want to throw this out there though. It seems Mr. King seems to want to throw out a lot of cases. Think about what I just said.
The heroin dealer?
Okay, now say that again because I have tried to track this man down. To say what you just said again.
King, per
Uh-huh.
se, possibility could be a pros.
Oh,
I think somebody told him to get out of the live earlier. If I'm mistaken.
Who? What?
The prosecutor.
Oh, the king, the prostitute. We're talking about King, the heroin dealer.
Yeah, but what if you happen to be a prosecutor too?
and he was a heroin dealer?
You
Oh, okay,
never know.
I'm gonna need you to send me a text on that, Ghost. Because I have tried to pin down who this my God. I have tried to pin down who this person is. And I also know that this person, I believe, was someone who was behind drugs being trafficked into Westville prisons to the guards, to the inmates. Does that sound
there
familiar?
happens to be a certain prosecutor that has on his license plates of his vehicles, all of them, King.
It's not Boss.
Boss is the other one.
Okay.
When it resigned.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Okay. Don't say anything else. Don't say
Mm-hmm.
anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Holy
Well,
fucking
I ain't worried
shit.
about him.
Okay.
I ain't
Well,
worried about
there
him one
was
bit.
have you
Okay.
heard of the Delphi? There was a Delphi police chief who was also a part-time bartender at the American Legion, and he was arrested at the office for by the DEA and Department and I don't think did DHS exist then? I don't know, but the FBI and DEA or someone came and arrested him at the office for trafficking cocaine from Florida into Indiana.
That might be Boss Hog.
I forget what his name is, but he had a son who also got arrested, and he took the rap for his son, Freddie Clark. Yeah, something like that. Yes, Freddie Clark.
Yeah, Clarky. Oh,
So let's just clarify really quick.
that's just
Let's
from
just
being able to say growing up around town and whatnot, and happen to see who's got what on their license plates and whatnot.
um, let's just clarify. Nick McClelland, am I right in chat? Nick McClelland has the license plate that says Boss, not King.
Yeah, Nick McClellan has
And that,
boss.
yes, we are sharing opinions here only, just to be clear, guys.
This is people just discussing their ideas. No
Jesus,
one's
yes, you are actually
Yeah,
correct. I got him switched.
yes, Nick
The one that
McClelland's got both
resigned,
plates.
yes, he does. I had to remember his pickup, remember what it said. And then the other one, which is in a nice little video of a call girl, he has King on his.
Oh, oh, okay. That wasn't a prosecutor. That was a judge.
Yeah, judge. But
Are
yeah,
you
I
talking
had him
about
switched.
South?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on. That's a whole nother. That is a whole
Anywho,
nother. That is a whole nother
I,
plunge into hell.
that's
Curtis.
just from growing up around town.
So you're telling me that Nicole Bowen's dealer was King, and King and that is the same?
Could possibility, maybe.
which would bring you back
He
to
cautions you to remember the 2 sketches are not photographs.
Do you know anything personally? Did he treat you fairly, etc.?
Me and my girlfriend had gotten into it, and, she put her hands on me, I put my hands on her. Basically what it was is self-defense. I had bite marks on my back and everything.
Oh,
All I was trying to do is get her off of me.
Well, they say that they arrest someone no matter what in domestic, like someone's going to jail. Girl or boy, yeah. So you just feel voiceless, basically.
Oh, poor
Because
baby.
a lot of people think that Curtis Bounce had something to do with those 2 little girls getting killed in Delphi.
Me from
Somebody knows.
He caught
okay. We're gonna move on.
Tilly!
Hey, case by case, we never fail, do we? We never fail
Hmm?
to drop some bombs.
Something told me to come to you guys. When I first messaged you, I said something told me to come to you.
All right, so back to Garrett here. Here's what Garrett looked like over the course of the month of October in 2017. And he was arrested 3 different times between October 3rd and March 27th. Then he was arrested, of course, in January, and he was arrested twice in February. Good Lord. What is that sound?
Fruit roll up. My bad.
Okay. So here's some interesting things about some of the things that have been said about Garrett over the course of after the murders. Let me take these down. So several people over the years have done some, research on Garrett, and here's some snapshots. It says, what do you think happened to drive him to kill someone? And this was in regards to, I believe, Nicole's case. This was a childhood friend. I really don't know. I was in complete shock and denial when I heard about it, but I do know he got into drugs pretty bad the past 5 years or so, I would say, and that would be the only thing I can think of that would make him do it. Do you think he could be responsible for the deaths of Libby and Abby? I can't read that top line. It says, the very beginning and the reasoning I say it was him is the voice of down the hill. And he knew Ron Logan from his dad and horse trading and riding that him and his dad would do for Ron back when Garrett was younger, I would say 14 or 15 years old. He would ride Ron's horses all over Ron's property and could possibly know every escape route and every way into the bridge with very little noticeability. Then over here, we have someone else discussing Garrett, where it says, my son worked with Garett Kirts on Ron Logan's farm and Mears farm. Law enforcement has to know there's a connection. He also stole a gun from Ron Logan in 2016. There was a police report at the time, but I don't know if it was ever proven. Law enforcement knows so much more than any of us, and just look at the evidence we know about. I'm sure it would probably blow our minds if we knew everything. And whoever was questioning this says, yes, I agree. I deeply feel he is involved. Now, thank you, Jennifer Hoff. Okay, now I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say, I'm not on here tonight to say that I think Garett Kirts did this. I'm not. What I'm showing you is all of the different angles of his personality, all of the different perceptions from people that interacted with his life, and everybody who was close to him and their opinions of him. So don't think that I'm saying that I believe he did this. Do I believe that he's capable of murdering? Absolutely. I don't know who killed Abby and Libby. I do know that I don't believe that Richard Allen did it. So, Ghost, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, because growing up with him, you learn characteristics of people, especially the way they talk, the way they walk, and from the way he looks, say, bridge guy, for instance, the way he is walking across the bridge with his hands in his pockets and looking down with that little gimp is exactly how Garrett walks. Not saying it is, not saying it ain't, but it's damn near spot on, in my opinion.
But
And same with the voice.
have you ever, okay, so for example, have you ever looked at Ron Logan or say a Brad Holder, or any of the people that anyone has really like singled out over the years that I think at some point in time you could look at and go, well, I do see, like, I can look at that some days and say that does look like Ron Logan, or I could absolutely believe that could be a Brad Holder or someone like that. Have you ever done that, or have you from day
Ron,
one ever?
oh yeah, I've checked into a lot of different ones. Ron, he possibly could be him too, but it don't sound like on that video. Does not sound like an older man. It sounds like a younger kid.
To you, it does. You think it sounds
And
like a younger kid?
yeah, it sounds like a younger kid when it comes up and says down the hill. And the way
Now,
it slurs and it sounds like Garrett, in my opinion.
now, have you ever been to Ron Logan's property?
No,
Did Garrett ever discuss Ron Logan with you?
not really. He talked about him and his grandpa taking some horses up there, and or vice versa, bring some horses back. But other than that, I just knew it was some grandpa's friend or something like that lived in Delphi.
Okay.
Now, as far as being on Ron's property or anything, younger years we used to go out there. It's like everybody said, the bridge is a very popular spot. Used to be, and we'd go out there, party, have fun, whatever. But we always knew, do not go to the end of the bridge because it was trespassing. We'd get the cops called on us instantly.
That would be
So
by
that
Brad
was
Weber.
one thing. Either Weber or there's a female that would come out, and it might be part of the Webers too. But they'd always come from basically the house straight back, almost right
That's
off the lane.
Yeah, that's the Webers. Now, did you ever have you ever had firsthand knowledge of anybody out there cooking meth? I mean, was that
At
known as a
Ron's,
local? Well, not necessarily at Ron's, but out there along Deer Creek, back in the woods. It could have been anywhere back in that area.
not to my knowledge, ever really, and that's something that kind of shocked me when it was said. And it's like, okay, it's just don't seem very ethical out there in a way to do it, because for one, I mean, yeah, there's always people that are usually out there on the trails back then before they got all done up nice and all that crap now.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't very much you could really go down there and do without being spotted.
Okay.
And that's a key thing. You could be up on that bridge and look any damn direction and you can see all the way around.
So do you have any local, like sitting, like I'm just kind of brainstorming with you here. Have you ever had a really like in-depth conversation with anybody, just off the cuff about things that you've heard consistently over the years? Like if it was a group of people or if the girls were taken off the bridge and taken somewhere and then brought back, what has been kind of the undertone consensus in the area?
Just kind of like brainstorm with a few different people, or just kind of thought the whole thing was kind of made up and whatnot. And it was just basically saying, no, it don't seem like it's wrong. It don't seem like it's this. What's up, Bubby?
They just bring it this outside.
Nah, you can leave it outside. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But see, where was I? But
You were saying you're talking about the conversations you had around town.
Yep. As far as saying okay, it was say Richard. It, none of us really ever really thought it was him at all. It just seems oddball. It's just he does not fit the profile whatsoever in some of our opinions. Now, some of the others, Garrett, Ron, uh, I'm racking my brain now.
Was there anybody
A
else
few of
that
the
you
main
guys,
ones.
Garrett and
There
Ron, have
was a
always been the main ones?
kind of, sorta, because I mean, it's like Ron's properties are right there. Uh, Weber's kind of always been kind of a questionable one, along
Mm-hmm.
with some of the patties. So I mean, if you want to get into it, the family is one thing that I thought's really suspicious.
Why? Tell us why.
Just, I mean, if you listen to a couple of the interviews, mainly with the sister,
Uh
it just
huh.
don't add up. And then you go on the whole washing the truck out, doing this, doing that. How the hell can you do that in 2 hours? 2, 3 hours, if that. I mean, yeah, that, you really won't get into it. I think it has to do with the sister and possibly the boyfriend and a few of the others.
What about Garrett? Why did you say Garrett before?
Just because from what I knew of, he used to run around with Derek German.
Did he?
Did he really?
Yep. About the same
Now,
time that they got busted and all
but
that.
wouldn't he have been like 13 or 14 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he was 18,
Was he running around the drug scene at that young of age?
Yeah, you can say that.
Really?
Because for one, I mean, if you look, he's kind of a bigger dude at the time.
And you
So he
know
kind
what?
of
We
looked a
have
little bit older.
well, real quick, me and Streets have kicked around the fact that everybody forgets that him being a juvenile, his record would be sealed. So we
Yeah.
don't
For a
know
lot of
what
things.
we don't know what trouble he got into at a younger age.
Nope. And
But
it's
he was
like,
only
his mom
18.
wasn't.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, his mom and all, wasn't in the picture. And when he started really kind of coming around everybody, he was up at his grandpa's all the time. So that's from where most of us knew him living at, was his grandpa's.
And then didn't he do drugs when he was a teenager? He went to like work release and stuff.
Well, that's kind of where it comes back into the consecutive lying and repulsive lying and whatnot. And it's like saying he was kind of a bigger kid then, so he'd come up and he'd say he's 16, 17 at the time, when in all actuality he was actually only like 12, 13, 14. So I mean, he was sitting there lying to us, from the get go with a lot of people, and it's like, whoa, okay. And once we actually did figure out what age he really was, it's like, all right, well, no, you can't come around this way, can't come around this way, and yeah.
Yeah, he's always denied knowing Derek German to me. And I mean, he's denied to me and he's denied publicly even knowing the Germans other than Michaela Babcock.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Delphi with him.
I'll have to look and see. That's one thing I've never really looked at.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, ain't he only like a couple years older?
I'm not sure. Shibby, Shibby, I watched Prof's video. I mean, he has some really great points. Sweatpants. I mean, obviously that was the story from the very first day, was that Libby was wearing sweatpants. But don't we also, whatever pants that Abby has on when they found her does have Libby's DNA in the crotch. So
Yeah,
that's the one
and
thing
the whole hair thing.
the hair thing.
That,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Ghost. What would be, or what was it rumored? Okay, so let's take the meth off the table. Let's take the Odinist off the table. Let's take the Kokomo crew and the girls walking into a meth lab in the woods off the table. And you're saying that you've leaned for a long time that on the fence, kind of swaying towards members of the family. I've tried, obviously, because they're family, I've tried every which way I can to stay away from that angle. And there's just some things that keep it kind of in the outer bubble for me. But what was the talk of? So, for example, if Kelsey was involved, why? Why?
Jealousy, kind of. I mean,
Her younger
that's
sister?
one thing. We've done the same thing, and it's like, we tried, push it this way, push it that way, push it this way, push it that way. But it's just a lot of the comments and the time frame and everything of the sister just does not make sense whatsoever. And then the whole cover up of the family and all that. I mean, it's just, what's to say something didn't happen and say at the house, in the bedroom, and that's why the bedroom ended up getting redone. Speculation, just speculation.
Oh, you're taking it back to there. Okay.
Because you got to
You know
think, the
what?
girls weren't out there. The girls were not out there
Out where?
at the, where they were found.
I don't think they were out there either.
You don't think they were out there all night?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they were either.
I think it goes back towards the house. Because it's awfully funny, her room was just, they're talking about wanting to be redone, and all of a sudden, boom, it got redone. But not all of it's redone. New carpet, new paint, etc.
Shelly Klein wants to know if you have ever heard anything about there being a contract out on Derek German for being a CI.
Not that I know of. I know, people are upset about it, and I've heard, several speculations. I've seen a couple different videos of, people saying it could be this, could be that. But, people ain't going to go out and, I can't really say that anymore, but, do stupid shit like that.
Right.
But then again, people could have went out and done some stupid shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I know where she's getting back to, which is probably going to be, say, with him being a CI, people he turned in, the family having a retaliation thing against him.
His own family?
Oh, the ones that he got locked up.
Okay, so which members of his own family are you talking about that he got locked up? So I know he got some other people locked up that weren't related,
Yep.
but
That's what I was saying. Basically, the people that he got locked up, saying their family was having like a retaliation, mad because, say, their dad or husband's locked up now, and say they had a grudge out against him or something. Which I have heard stuff about that, but it's kind of like, would they really? Would they not? But at the same time, it's just, there's a lot of things out there that could be. Like I said, we could be here all night on Delphi.
yeah. Hey, Streets.
Yes.
Streets. How long was you said Garrett was in Whites, correct?
Yeah, when he was a kid.
For how long? Do you know?
I don't know for how long. The usual stay at White's is about 6 months to a year. So probably that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, go ahead, Ghost. Finish your story. You were talking about the family and
Basically, I don't know if you've seen it online. I'm sure you have. A couple things where people are showing that there was one girl, if I remember this right, on, I think it's the Jackson Files or something like that, where they're saying that possibly one of the girls or a woman that was saying she was actually a young girl was actually the wife of one of the husbands that got locked up by Derek. I know that's a lot to like kind of comprehend, but
No, I think I'm following you. That might we might have to just talk about that off stage, and I might have to figure out a different way to, I guess, backdoor it in without outing or
I
letting. I
think
can.
it's the
Is it the
YouTuber that put it up. I
godmother of
think it's
Libby? Would it be in that direction, the godmother of Libby?
possibly.
Okay.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but Jackson Pierce file I think is where it's at on YouTube.
Is it Jackson Pierce or Daniel Pierce? Or you're talking about no Jackson
Jackson
Pierce?
Pierce, Jackson Pierce, I think,
Okay.
and he's
The
got a
only
couple of different things up there.
the only thing that gives me pause as to like a drug motive is it feels like it would have come out by now. Like someone would have flipped on someone by now, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if
But
it's more like what Reese Davis is saying and like, the dentist type stuff, then that seems like something someone would keep a secret for like to the grave. You know what I mean?
right, and with it's like what was it, last week before last? Somebody happened to mention that, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, hold on, back it up, because
I just put it on the
with the
screen. I
with
just
the
put it on the
dentist being
screen.
there. Yes. There you go. She goes by a couple different names though. Yep.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. She is 100% right there. It's like there is video and pictures and everything of them being out there the day that the girls come up missing.
Well, and you know what?
On that.
There's a whole nother group of people that I have. Well, for those like the when Rick Allen said he saw 3 girls, not the 4 girls. Those 3 girls do exist, and no one's ever brought them up. No one's ever released their names or anything. So there were a lot of people out there that day. That's what
Yeah.
makes this so. That's why I feel like. I mean, they could have been taken away from the property.
And or never been out there to begin with. And somebody else was out there trying to say it was them.
Oh my God, this is just I can't.
That's just I got so many ways you can look at it. And here's
Well,
another one. Why does it
well,
say suicide on the girls' death certificate?
yeah, I don't know. I know that there's been some talk about that being some sort of a typo or something that it's a computer generated filling in of an empty space. I don't know. I do know that we have 2 little girls that lost their lives that were found out there. So something horrible happened. And
Yes.
okay, so let's get back on track. So about a year before the murders is when everything came to a head with Ashley and Garrett. And the reason this is important is because when it comes to Delphi is because actually I think I need to skip just really fast here to we'll get to it in a minute. I'm not going to skip. But some family members have some things to say about Garrett spiraling. But it was after Ashley left for Florida that Garrett really did spiral out of control. So Ashley, and here's a little bit of background on that. Ashley left for Florida in mid 2016. She had been living in Lafayette in 2015 to 2016 on Burrough Street. And Garrett was starting to get really heavy into spice. And Ashley said he was buying it off of a guy named David that went by a nickname, and she never knew his real name. Would you happen to know who that is, Ghost?
Uh,
He was from Lafayette.
From Lafayette, I doubt it then. If it was somebody from Lafayette, because that's one place I really didn't get into, as honestly, Lafayette kind of scares me.
Okay.
Granted, I have several cases out of Lafayette, which I mean, self-explanatory there, but it's as far as like the spicing goes and all, I've been there, done it, and when it comes down to that, he would go hell and high acre to go wherever he had to go get it. Now, when he was on the spice, is he would get completely. I'd say he flipped his lid completely in.
He would what?
Because I mean that stuff. When he got onto the spicing, that is where it really like hit. It flipped his cracker. It just made him go completely dumb, stupid, and reckless.
What exactly is spice?
Fertilizer, basically, on top of a leaf.
Oh.
It comes.
Sorry, guys. Have you
comes,
done it yourself? Have you personally done it?
Yes. That was one thing that was horrible. I mean, I was on it for about 8 or 9 years, and it was worse than heroin coming off of heroin. I put it that way.
Tilly,
Really?
shut up.
Yeah. I'd rather come off of a heroin binge than never come off of that shit again.
Sounds horrible.
So, I take it you would witness Garrett on the spice, because Ashley said that, right? Ashley said that the months before she left, he was getting into the spice really heavy, and that he was getting it from a guy named David, but she didn't know his name, and she didn't allow him to smoke in the house. So she said she said that he would go outside by this window by the kitchen, and he would sit outside and he would pass out. And she said that she had poured water out the window on him to wake him up. And
I believe it.
And
that
one
shit will do
time,
it to you.
she said one time he was like completely out of control. She called his mom to come and get him, and he wasn't allowed at his family's home, none of his family's homes. And his mom showed up at Ashley's house and offered to pay her money to let Garrett stay there.
I believe it, honestly. I mean, he was not allowed at any of his. He was not allowed back at his grandpa's, from my knowledge. He never really allowed at his mom's, from what I knew of.
Now, see, this is contradictory to his interviews that he did on Open Secrets, because he wanted everybody to think that he was a victim and Ashley used to beat on him. And, you know, he was telling Open Secrets, ask my family, they would tell you. But right before, one of the final straws that made Ashley decide, she broke her lease in Lafayette to move to Florida to go to rehab and get clean. So she left him. But the final straw was Garrett had beat the living crap out of her and broke her arm. Do you remember that?
If I remember right, he tried telling a bunch of us it was from a four-wheeler wreck. And it's like, all right, well, where were we guys at? And what four-wheeler was it? Does a four-wheeler need fixed? You know, what's up on it, you know? And we'd sit there, you know, try to basically just figure out, it's like, all right, well, how bad's the four-wheeler fucked up? If she broke her arm, the four-wheeler's got to be fucked up too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's back then, if, you know, we all had play toys and whatnot, four-wheelers, three-wheelers. So, I mean, we had extra parts. And if somebody broke their arm wrecking a four-wheeler, the four-wheeler's going to be messed up too. But we thought it was always suspicious because it's, for one, you ain't going to have a black eye the shape of a fist from a four-wheeler wreck.
Oh, she had a black eye too?
I do believe so. Later on down the road, she ended up with a black eye or a bruise or something on her cheek or something. That, I mean, it was straight up resembled knuckles.
Well, she said that a few days later, after she came home from work, a few days after her arm was broken, that she came home and Garrett was passed out on the bed, and he was basically nude, and he had the crap beat out of him, and he wouldn't tell her what happened. And then later that night, she was sitting on the front porch smoking, and her neighbor, who she said his name was Shannon, she doesn't know his last name, but basically he came over and told her that he had witnessed Garrett beating on her through their windows at their house and then seen her with the broken arm after the fact. So when he seen Garrett, he beat the shit out of Garrett.
Good man.
So it was shortly after that she packed up and moved to Florida. Do you remember her moving to Florida?
Vaguely, because of her younger sister talking about it.
Uh-huh.
And then being in communication with her while she was down there and whatnot.
Okay.
Because I think at the time of that, I was living in Pheasant Run, if I'm not mistaken, there in Lafayette.
Okay. So there's that. So Ashley's gone. This is mid 2016. And basically, Garrett had ruined all of his support network from his family. I think he was couch surfing at this point, and I really don't think that he had a vehicle. Did you ever know Garrett to ever have a vehicle?
No, he always had a ride. Always had somebody come get him or something like that.
Did you ever know Garrett to be a meth dealer to where he had money?
Yeah. But It wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't to the point where he had money. It was basically just to cover his fix.
Okay. So he never really had enough money to support himself?
Hell
Like
no.
Get an apartment or anything like that?
Nope. He was always sleeping on somebody's couch or on the floor.
Oh, okay. So another thing about Garrett that a lot of people don't know, and I know that everybody's heard us talk about the dentist, but the dentist is somebody who lived near his grandfather's house, right?
Yeah, he said
Yes.
Springboro Road. That's what made my
Yep.
ears hurt.
So we're not gonna oust the dentist's name. We're not gonna say his name. And I've kept his address off the radar, but we are going to show some things. So tell us what you know about the dentist, Ghost. And for those of you who are wondering why this is significant, this is an individual where Garrett used to frequently hang out. And we believe this is who he is referring to on Open Secrets as someone who molested him. However, it wasn't a molestation situation. So
And
this
this
was
is the
more.
first person he called when he got to jail in Newton County.
And Garrett is still in contact with this person today. That is a fact. So go ahead, Ghost. Take it away. Tell us what you know about the dentist.
Well, I don't know his name whatsoever. I just know of him. And I've been on the property a few times. And every time I've been over there, it's always been kind of, back then, Garrett was hanging out there. A few of his friends were hanging out there, a couple of mine. But basically, being out there in the country, you go out there, ride four-wheelers, do whatever you wanted to. And there's always constantly kids staying out there. I never really knew who owned the house at the time until a couple years later, after a critical incident happened out there per se. And then I found out, okay, it's actually an older guy, and some of the things that he went about out there was not very settling with a bunch of us per se, because we knew a bunch of kids were always up there, and we ended up finding out that possibly he was up there hurting other kids along them lines, but yet at the same time he was kind of constantly giving them money left and right and whatnot.
So let's talk about his house and what you saw firsthand.
Well,
first of all, let's talk about the tragic incident that happened. So one of the boys that was hanging out there ended up living there. He was 22 years old. The dentist is a much older man. Go ahead.
And for some reason, we're not quite sure exactly why, but the kid ended up hanging himself out there, unfortunately.
Hey, that kid
Eh,
has that kid's last
Don't
name.
don't know. We're not going to do that. I
Okay.
don't want. I don't want to do that just yet. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ghost.
And it's after kind of like that incident, we're all kind of like, okay, what's up with it and everything else. And then I kind of know part of the family. And later on down the road, after, what the family said with the last messages, wherever, they got from the kid at the time, it just
Can
kind
you
of
discuss
seemed,
those? Can you discuss those?
it, um, kind of the lines of he didn't want everybody to be ashamed of him. And some of the things that he'd done, he knew his family would kind of look down on him upon.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like the main reason why he did what he did, per se.
And he did it in the
But
schoolhouse style building that's on the property next to the main house.
yes.
And then, do you want to talk about these pictures right here that I'm showing? What the yellow arrow is pointing to?
Um, well, there was, if you see, some of the roof has been redone up there, which I did. And the very, very top of there, we were told, don't go up there, nothing's up there, just stay away from it. Well, you can't put, like, basically, I've put it this way, you can't put a big red button in front of me and say, don't push. Someone push it. So I grabbed the ladder and climbed up to the very top there, and there just happened to be a hatch, and it had a padlock on the outside. You look down into it, and there's kind of like a small room. I'd probably say maybe about like 10 by 12, something like that. But there's no windows, no other way in or out of it, and it's just a blanket, well, a couple blankets up there at the time when I seen it. So it's basically a one way in, one way out through the roof, and it's at least a good 6-7 foot down in order to get up out of this thing. And as soon as you kind of see it, and you look down in there, you automatically just get the weird, just sick vibes.
Something
So,
that we'd use for human trafficking.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's just it's one creepy ass little spot, put that way, because that's damn near three-story house.
now, did you ever meet the dentist personally?
Not personally. I've seen him like a couple times, but other than that, when I've seen him, it just kind of, oh, how can I put it? Just gave that weird, like creeper, like just real creepy vibe all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. I don't get scared that much at all, but that dude, he gives me the heebie-jeebies big time.
Well, I know Streets has done some research on him, and you think that he also runs kind of a photography business?
I'm not sure if he does or don't. I've heard
Streets,
speculations of it.
yeah, Streets. I think she discovered that.
He has like 6 or 7 email addresses indicating that he has a photography studio of some sort.
And he's also a pediatric dentist too, right?
Yeah, pediatric and cosmetic dentistry.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's
And his dentist office is really close to Mark Kurtz's house, like right across the parkway.
well, I mean, it's he has what? How many? houses down on the lake. You got that one there, and then he's
Yeah.
got what, another one in Indy or Lafayette or somewhere.
Well, see, I think he's the thing with him is I think that he owns a lot of property, but he also has a really big history of civil lawsuits that I'm wondering if those are for like rental properties that he has.
And also probably dentistry, like suing people for the bills.
Could be. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Now, these were the speculated images of Garrett. A month and a half before Delphi, the witness sketch that was done, I believe it was done by, I can't think of her name.
It's not Wagner.
No, it's Betsy Blair. Betsy Blair.
No, somebody's talking about the dentist. I thought for a long time it could be Wagner too, but it's not Wagner. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
no,
I don't think it is.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
catastrophe. You're right.
It's not.
Yeah. The middle photograph was done by Betsy Blair. Now that was the young, he was a 10, good looking guy that she saw on the first platform that day. And then a month and a half after the sketch was done is a picture of Garrett as well. So you've got a month and a half before, you've got the February sketch, and then you've got a month and a half after. And then you've got Garrett again claiming he does not know where he was on the 13th. Hi, Candy M. Thanks for saying hi. Hey, guys, there's 272 people watching. Can we all hit that like button, please? And thank you.
And don't forget to subscribe.
So then we're going to get into a family member describing Garrett's behavior immediately after the murders. Someone else and that's interesting, Ghost. I think that this person up here, who I have names blacked out, is also commenting on the BG picture with the hands in the pockets. Wow, just wow.
I remember him doing that. I remember him doing that too.
And it says, so this person that's a family member said Garrett was incapacitated. He stayed in a bedroom from the 15th to the 20th, did not come out to eat or use the bathroom. His mother had to shower him. We simply believed he was withdrawing from spice. No one ever made this connection.
Yeah, I remember when he did that too, and it was odd all the way through, honestly.
Did you ever know Garrett to carry knives?
Just normal pocket knives. Nothing like major or anything like that. Just normal, switchblade or something you'd have on you.
ACV wants to know, Ghost, if the dentist has ever referred to being a member of a club or mentioned friendship with a former judge.
I've always been kind of told that he's got friends in high places somewhat, but at the same time, I have no clue what that would mean. I'd probably say something along those lines. He probably does.
Tilly, stop. No, stop it.
So let's go from there. Then we have up next. Okay, now this was the same family member describing Garrett. Says, I don't believe he has a crew. He never has had his own home and moved around between Kokomo, Delphi, and Lafayette. Depending on how his relationships were with his girlfriend was going, he had one less place to stay after his grandma was hospitalized the week he killed Ray. So now you have some information about that as well. You claim that before Ray was killed, Garrett was hanging out over there.
From what I know of, he's always talking about, he'd go over hang out with somebody over in Reynolds. Go over there and
Mhm.
party out with somebody out in Reynolds. Whether he was staying the weekend or be over there for a few days or whatever, somebody'd come over or he'd get a ride out there and he'd go out there and hang out, place over in Reynolds for a while. Then
And
he'd come back and
how did this? Thank you, Michelle M, for gifting the memberships. Thank you so much. Hi, True Obsession. Welcome in. Aspen Connor is another YouTube creator, digital warrior. So, in regards to Ray's death, do you know if this was around that same time frame? And can you, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, let me kind of rehash it. So there, and over the course of these years of me working on Ashley's case, it's taken me a long time to get people to come out and talk. And I always knew that something went down on Jason Palladino's compound the weekend of March 18th, which was right after, it was the week after Ray was killed, and the week after, it was after Ray's body was found. And for those of you who don't know, Ray Hainish lived in Reynolds. He was a gay male. And Garett Kirts and Nicole Bowen and a guy named Kyle Stout were arrested in Ray Hainish's vehicle in Tippecanoe County on March 14th. They believe Ray died on March 13th, so that would have been the day before. His apartment was discovered in disarray. There had been a party, and his body was not discovered until March 17th. That weekend of March 17th, Garrett had gone out to a friend of his house, and him and Nicole were out there together. And then something happened on the week of the 18th. And I've always been able to pin it down that Garrett found paperwork in Nicole's car in regards to the night that they were arrested in Ray's vehicle. And Nicole was outing Garrett. They had drugs in the car. They had meth. They had a syringe. They had a scale. And Garrett was claiming that she was going to snitch on him. I've always thought that Nicole was at Ray's as well and knew about Ray. And once he found out that she was willing to tell about the drugs, maybe she was willing to also tell about a murder. Do you know anything about that?
not really. I know her and him got kicked off the compound one day because of simple fact they were arguing. And it basically kind of go back to what I said earlier is we just, country boys, we don't want to have to deal with no, arguing, no bicker, no drama, especially, somebody hollering, well, I'm going to call the cops on you for, assault or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they both kind of got kicked off the property, leading to where they didn't have nowhere to go. So only place that they could go, because basically compound was one of the last ones, was Reynolds. I'd take it.
Well, it could. Well, at this point in time, I believe that Ray was already dead, and unless because I've never been able to verify the date that they were kicked off the compound. Can you remember how long before Nicole was murdered? How long before this incident happened?
I'd almost say probably 2-3 weeks, maybe, give or take.
So did it seem? I mean, did it? Well, then, if that incident so if they were kicked off the compound, they could have went over to Ray's and stayed together.
Possibly, because they got kicked off together, and those two got into it hot and heavy. And
Who
when
did?
those two got into it, Jason.
Who?
And Garrett, Jason and Garrett, because he was told, to leave, just basically flat out get off property and just go. You guys want to cause drama? Go.
Okay.
And Garrett being Garrett, he popped his mouth off back and all that, and basically got flat out told again, look, either leave or I'm going to beat your ass right here. And Garrett turned around, got in the car, and they took off.
So they left together that night.
Yes.
Was that the last time that you ever seen Nicole?
Yeah.
Was it? So did you ever, so during this time, did you ever, so you know, the Garrett's story is that him and Ashley and Jason conspired to kill Nicole. Had you ever seen them all over there together? Did Jason ever discuss with you him wanting Nicole dead?
No. Only thing I've heard a few different times was, you're paranoid, nobody's snitching on you, you're paranoid, dude, and put the damn pipe down. Because, I mean, that's what it was, paranoia, kind of.
Who, with Garrett?
Yeah. He was thinking damn near anybody and everybody at the time was going to snitch him for something or another. And it's like, dude, nobody's snitching on you, nobody's saying a damn thing about anything. Why are you even thinking anybody's going to say anything? And it's like, dude, you're just making yourself more paranoid about, you know, at the time, we didn't know what was really going on, but he was always thinking, well, somebody's going to turn me in for having, you know, some shit on me or something. It's like, dude, nobody's fucking snitching out. You just got to get it out of your head. And he just, evidently, he could not get the whole Nicole thing out of his head.
Did, okay, well, let me see. Let's read these next messages here. Oh, okay, we'll get to those in a second. So did you ever, after Nicole's death, did you, I mean, you were obviously friends with Jason Palladino too. Have you ever, was Jason aware that Garrett was implicating him in being involved in Nicole's death?
Not to my knowledge. Not till, like, I think it was later on or something that it was coming out that Garrett was trying to pin it on a bunch of other people and a bunch of other shit, trying to get himself out of trouble or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Welcome in, Briam McNeil. Hi, Jenny. Hi, D. England. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome in, guys. Hit that like button. So, let me see what's coming up next here. Okay, so this was another family member talking about Garrett around the time of Delphi. And she posted this in one of the Facebook groups, and it says, I'm just going to throw this out there. Garett Kirts is my cousin. Anyone calling the tip line on him trying to get the reward money can just stop. They started investigating him for this over a week before the new press conference. So right there we have it. That the new press conference was in April of 2019. Garrett was arrested for Nicole April 1st. And Ron Logan is the one that called in that tip. It's been a secret from my side of the family, at least, that he even knew Ron Logan. Why would that be a secret? Let alone that he, why would that be a secret? Let alone that he frequented the property. Secondly, if it is him, I pray they get him. My family doesn't condone any of his actions, to include Nicole Bowen's murder. His mother is a hot mess and is in denial over all of this. But I've also seen comments regarding my family members and his pictures. Just stop reaching. My creepy looking redheaded cousin in one of his pics at his wedding isn't a murderer and doesn't have any ties to Delphi.
If that is a female cousin, there's some creepy shit going on with those two. I'll put it that way. If that happens to be a female cousin that is talking right there. Because they have had relations. And they've been caught having relations.
My goodness. So I'm going to save the rest of this for episode 2. For episode 2 on this, because it is 10 till 9, and I know everybody is probably wanting to watch Nick McClelland on
What's he
Hidden
got
True
going on?
Crime.
I'm in a chat and I keep getting notifications. Apparently, he's dropping a bunch of f-bombs.
Oh wow.
Is he doing one right now?
Yeah, I guess he's supposed to be doing an interview right now on, I think it's Hidden True Crime. So I will take everything that I've got left on this and I will add it to the next live. We'll just pick up where we left off so everybody can catch that. I know it's everybody's Saturday night, and the last couple lives I've done have gone way overboard on time. Maybe Ghost, maybe you'd want to come back on.
I'll be back.
Yay. Okay. So thank you, everybody in the chat. People in the chat are thanking you, Ghost, for coming out and talking. And
You needed somebody that's there, and I'm willing to help you out. So
thank you. I really appreciate it. It's really, and I know that it's kind of putting you out there, and I appreciate it.
Holy crap.
A little bit, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about it because in the end, it comes down to basically kids and a reckless person that did some shit that's just beyond standards of the code.
Yeah. Those two little girls need justice for sure. And I mean, every day I'm just like, God, can we just get the answers? And I think eventually one day we're going to get them. Are we just going to get them in time for,
I hate to say it like this, but I have a feeling it's going to have to be street justice that's end up, taking care of it.
I hope not. I hope it all comes out for the girls' sakes, for their families. I know the families have tried to put their trust in law enforcement, but there's just too much here. So Toby Garth is in the chat. Toby, that's Ashley's dad. He says thank all of you guys for your support. I will be posting. I'll be posting a thumbnail. We're going to be going back into episode 6 of Ashley's case, either tomorrow or Monday. And we're also going to be doing an additional segment on reading her brief that her attorney just filed. So he went to bat for her. I'm super excited. And so we're gonna read that. Huh?
It's a really good brief.
It is. It's a really good brief. And I actually had Michael Osbrook take a look at it too. And he thought it was great. So that's encouraging. So much love to everybody. Thanks for the support. Hit that like button and subscribe. Replay crew.
Hi to Polygraph. She's been around forever. We're Facebook friends. She likes all of my posts. She's a great person. Hi, Polygraph. Sorry.
You're fine. Thank you, everybody. I will see you either tomorrow or Monday. Thank you, mods. You guys are awesome.
Shell Bell is in jail with Cheyenne.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Amy.
Hang on one
if you
second.
want to, you could send my info to Street if you want to.
Okay, hang on. Stay right there, Ghost. Don't go anywhere. Good night, everybody.
Good night.